Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 36 of the Smooth Jazz Channel. This is Casey Kasem coming to you live. Episode 36 of Thick and Thin with LB and Duty. No one's watching the show tonight because we switched it to a different day and it blew everyone's mind and the live show sucks. We got Bubba in here and we're all, it's very quaint tonight. It's very quaint, very quiet. It's really dark in LB's room, so everything's normal there. Hitman couldn't make it, so this week we got no Hitman. We got nothing this week. This is bare bones. Sucks.
We got Bubkiss.
Got nothing, but we got LB. What's up, LB?
What's up, everybody?
We got me.
Yeah,
I'm here.
we do. Yeah,
You know. So so we couldn't get shit together on Tuesday, so we decided to do it on Thursday. And apparently, when you switch the day of a show, people are just like, "Well, fuck that show." Because no one's here, so we're doing like a really quiet, quaint show. And we also didn't come up with a topic until like 13 seconds ago, which is normally how we do it. But sometimes we're a little bit more prepared. This week, not prepared at all. We got nothing for you. There's no one on the show. It's on the wrong day. Probably won't get released for at least 6 weeks. The show is great. Everything about it is just top-notch. Top-notch
we
show.
sent out too early, and there was absolutely broken content, so there's no DLC to fix.
No DLC. What you been doing, LB?
I've been playing a little bit of Borderlands, played a little Halo.
Really?
Been waiting for Halo to come out, waiting for the LAN to happen. So yeah, it's kind of like that whole doldrum. Like, thing is so close right now. You know, LAN is less than 30 days away. New Halo is less than 30 days away, and I want it.
Right. The proverbial sun, the Jesus of games, rising from the grave.
Baby Jesus.
And on the third day, God made Halo 4. And 343 rose above all and cleansed the evil on the planet Earth.
Wow.
Yep. So November 9th through the 11th is the actual LAN. So that's kind of the news of the month, I guess. We're going to be talking about this for forever. So if you didn't buy tickets, too late. Sold out. If you want to come talk to me, you can. Maybe I'll get you in. I know some people.
Wow.
I know some people. And because of that, woundedwarriorsproject.org. Don't ever forget. Go there every day. Keep sending them money. As soon as you get a paycheck, you just send it over to them. That's what you do from now on, at least until the LAN. Every paycheck from now until the LAN, you just send over there. Is it fair enough, LB? You think that's bad?
I've got a little thing though.
Okay.
I think it's a great, awesome program.
Do you hate America? Are you about to spout how you hate America? Do you hate the soldiers? I'm really confused here.
Wounded Warrior Project.
Okay.
You do great work.
Okay.
But since I've gone to the website, and I've gone there multiple times, checking out stories, seeing, if something locally I can do, maybe volunteer, whatever.
Sure.
Everything. It's great. It's fine. But now, I go to other websites, and based upon the cookie that I've had, they'll show the banner saying, hey, check out the Wounded Warrior Project, and then they show the picture, the worst picture.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And oh my God. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God.
It's depressing.
Yes, I'm like, I can go search my couch for extra change. I'm
Yeah.
gonna send it to this dude every time, and I'm on the computer all day, so I see it all the time.
Yeah. I know. I'm with you. But isn't that a good thing? It's like it's making you feel so shitty about yourself. Like you're sitting on your like nice warm couch and like you got, all your fingers and toes and everything's good for you. And then you're browsing like a gaming site. And it's just like you see this photo. Our site. Yeah. And you're just it's heartbreaking and it's like, please stop. Like I'm sorry. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
I purposely switched tabs.
Did you really?
So long because I'm like I can't see it.
Can't do it anymore.
I
can't do it anymore.
To something else.
Here, I'm gonna show the people here. This is the logo. It's terrible. If you don't want to donate after that, you're fucking heartless. You're going to hell.
I know.
You're going straight to hell. That's where you're going. I don't know if you knew that. But that's and it's all over Tool to Play. It's good though. good.
I can't. I'm telling you that. Oh,
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. So if you don't want to help, you're going to hell. That's what's happening. You're going to hell. Save your soul. So no, but that's obviously a fantastic, and that's the thing is this is serious shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you don't know about it, if you never heard about it, they help veterans. They help not even people in the military too. Anyone that came back from any sort of military, excursion, if you will, anyone that was affected by war, they help out their families and stuff like that. So if you don't know, the reason we're pimping them so much is a buddy of ours, Josh, that donated to the land, donated $3,000, the probably the largest amount that we've ever seen for any land or anything for having to do with Tool to Play. And he did it in honor of them because they helped him when he was in a skirmish of his own out there. So it's a good cause. There's no reason not to like it. If you don't, you're heartless and you're going to hell. So now that we've let everyone down, let's try to bring them back up. October 26th, I believe. I'm hoping I'm getting the date right. We're going to have a play date on Xbox Live. Check your dashboards for Modern War 3. That's October 26th. I believe it's a Saturday. I could totally be wrong. But check your dashboard. You will see us up there. Tool to Play, play date. If you don't know how to get in, go to the division, the Call of Duty division on tooltoplay.com/forums. You'll see the divisions there. It's right down there. I think it's the third one. And there's a sticky from Lala Calamari, one of our esteemed helpers and or moderators and or does everything around the site and helps us out. He's heading it up. So he's got a bunch of rooms, a bunch of names of people that are going to make rooms. If you want to help out, that'd be awesome. Send him a PM or just, say something on the site right there, letting him know that you would be glad to help, build up a room. Because we got to take these rooms, then we got to bring people in from the outside public, get to meet Tool to Play and sort of play around with us and all that stuff. So if you're not busy on the 26th and you still like Modern War, and again, it's kind of like this pre-gaming of gaming time that LB was talking about, where there's a lot of kick-ass games coming out just after this. But it's a good time to fill in the gap and keep things rolling as we wait for, was it Black Ops 87 and Halo 54? Is that where we're?
I think that's right. It's somewhere around there.
That's right.
Plus or minus 15, something like that.
Right. If you want to play one of the many billion Halos, that will not be available till after that. So, and the other thing we got going on is the Halo versus Forza thing. It's been in the making for a really long time, and they're finally solidifying the rules for Halo versus Forza. I gotta show this logo is fantastic. It's like the greatest thing ever. Let me bring this up. It's fantastic. I love it. It's brought to you by Church. I think Church Pro is the main guy heading it up, but it looks great. It's got the car next to the what's it called? I don't even know how to play Halo.
The
anymore.
Warthog next to the Ferrari.
Yeah, I think that is. No, that's a Dodge Viper, I believe.
Is it?
I believe it is. I don't know. I don't know cars. I don't know cars at all. And apparently, I don't even know what the green thing is. What are those called again?
Warthog.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Warthog.
So, Forza versus Halo, Tool to Play's biggest rivals go head-to-head, wheel to trigger in a matchup of the ages. It's going to be October 20th. So it's the week before we actually do the play date I just mentioned. So if you want to get involved with that, I absolutely can't wait. That's going to be pretty kick-ass. You can go to the Division forums, both of them, either Forza or Halo. The one he sent me is the one in the Halo series forum. So head on over there. You'll see it. It's the Halo versus Forza triathlon. It's kind of cool. They're going to do 5 matches of Forza, 5 matches of Halo. Everyone will score points in all rounds, and then it's going to be sort of a cumulative matchup, if you will. And it's cool because if you don't play a lot of Forza, you'll start to play some Forza, and if you don't play a lot of Halo, you're going to play some Halo. So it's going to bring them both together. It's a cool thing to do, I think, while we're in this waiting period for more FPSs. And I think Forza Horizon 2 is coming out, which is like the new Forza that's coming out pretty soon. I think it's next week. So there's a lot of stuff on the horizon, pun intended, for Forza as well. So those are the main gigs that we got going on. Obviously, the LAN is taking most of our time and most of the other stuff. So, in the next couple months or month, God, it's so soon. Is it less than 30 days?
It's less than 30 days.
I should get us like
29 days. Something
oh
like
God,
that.
I need to get us a hotel.
Yeah,
I gotta start planning.
Maybe you should get a room. where we can actually
Yeah, I don't
gather,
even know
show up as a
what
group?
date should we make it? I don't even know. I'm super
I
excited.
don't know. Maybe how about June?
Let's do
it in
June. Next year, June. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be super exciting.
In Vegas.
So talking about Forza and how the new Halo's coming out and the new blah blah blah. This is how we got to this. Today I saw something on NG4. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like I guess what would you call it, like a dig or Reddit for gaming or something?
Yeah.
An
Kind of
aggregate.
matches them.
They aggregate gaming news. I saw an interesting post called 15 Good Reasons to Hate Modern Gaming. Now, the post itself, LB even kind of said it best, where he said he's trying to drudge up views, which obviously that's fine. Most journalists are trying to get some views. That's fine. We respect that. But it did have a couple of good points. Mainly that the question that we like to ask, or we're going to ask tonight, is, are we better off with video games than we were 15 years ago? Has gaming, kind of built up in a way that is best for the consumer? Obviously, there's millions of yeses and millions of nos. And we just kind of wanted to hit some points tonight, going over the last 15 years and sort of where we're at now in video games. Obviously, we've got the internet, we've got big business really taking over. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, as opposed to when Nintendo kind of was at the reins, and a little bit less than that, let's say. Not billions at all. And is it a good thing? We've got online now. We're pretty much attached at the hip to the internet. We don't play very many single player games anymore. And even on our cell phones with 4G and even 3G, we're pretty much connected 100 billion seconds out of the day, and we're just constantly gaming together. So one of the main, I guess to start off, I'm just going to throw it at you, LB. Generally, are we better or worse than we were 15 years ago for gaming?
I'm on the side. I think we're in a better area or better spot.
Right.
I think, this dude's opinions or whatnot, they're all right and everything. And I see where he's coming from, but I kind of like where we're at, and I kind of like the future of where a lot of gaming is going. But I do see that there are problems and there are issues.
I like it. Well, like as with anything, there's a case to be made, I think, regardless. So let's go over some of the topics that he kind of proposes and what we think. The big one that he starts off with is how everything now is a pre-order incentive. Back when you bought games, even 15 years ago, not even 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the pre-order incentive had yet to really take hold. In terms of marketing, and that's what I think we've really seen, is them marketing directly and really trying to drudge up as much cash as possible. You just bought the game. You'd go to your local store. I went to Babbage's. Did you have Babbage's out there back in the day, LB?
Yes, we did.
You did?
Yep.
Did you have Newegg?
Yep.
Did you have Egghead? Egghead Software.
Egghead.
It's like late 90s before I think they turned into Babbage's. Someone will actually tell me this. I know this when I do the show.
I don't remember an Egghead because we had GameStop, we had EB Games, we had Babbage's.
I call it Babbage's. Babbage's. You go to your local Babbage's and you'd buy some video games. You take them home, you play the game was over, that was done. Yay, that was it. And so now the thing is, with pre-order incentives, after the last 15 years and even more recently, this is sort of the mainstay. Any AAA title, and even like the indies are getting in on this incentive stuff. A lot of guys will do the betas now, these indies, and they'll say, hey, if you buy the game now while it's in beta, we'll give you early access. That's another pre-order big thing that they do. They do it a lot with MMOs. They do it a lot with bigger and smaller games. Do you think this is a good step for us? And I think you were saying earlier that you didn't mind it. So, what are your thoughts on the pre-order incentives now that we have today?
Well, I don't have a problem with him, because if there's a game I know I'm gonna get, right? I'm getting Halo 4.
Right.
So if they're gonna come out and be like, oh, by the way, if you want to pre-order it, put down $5 on it, we'll give you X. Okay, I'm already getting the game, so you want to give me more stuff? Hell yeah. I'm all for it.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
But does it ever sway how you buy a game? Now, I use this as an example because it came up, I think, twice for me in the last year. One time with Borderlands 2, you get the Mechromancer essentially for free for pre-ordering, right? And I think it was it Battlefield 3 that had the map pack thing too? I want to say it was Battlefield 3 that did that.
Yes, that is correct.
Is that okay? Is it okay to basically say if you don't pre-order, so you don't wait for reviews, here's the thing, you're not going to wait for the reviews, you're not going to get to talk to your friends about it first to find out if they liked it or not, or even if they're going to play. It's kind of like we want to get you now so that you don't have a chance to hear about how shitty our game may or may not be. Now, that might not be the case. I mean, might not be why they do it, but it certainly gives you an incentive to latch on early. And whether that game is good or not, you kind of don't have a chance to find that out. Is that part of it okay? Or do you think that's not even what they're doing?
See, with that Battlefield thing, that does kind of suck. Because, I mean, if you are on the fence and you're like, well, I don't know if I want to spend the $60 or whatnot. And then you find out, like, you know, a couple weeks afterwards, your buddies are playing, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. All my friends are now playing it. And then you go in and you're like, oh, well, you can't play half these maps with us because now you have to spend more money to get them.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I mean,
yeah, it's like you get punished for being a late adopter.
Yeah, that really, really sucks. And I can see the outrage to that, and that is the dark side of the pre-order stuff. And guess who the parent company is with that? Yay?
But let's be fair. Does Activision not do it too? I mean, is this not a globalized thing with gaming, or are we just saying it's just? I don't think it's just EA. Well, who was the publisher for Borderlands 2? Do we know? I think it's Activision, correct?
No, it's 2K.
Oh, 2K. Is it 2K?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2K.
So it seems to not be just attached to them, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't think it's just one company. I will say that EA seems to be really good at it.
Yeah.
They seem to be on the forefront from nickel and diming you until you absolutely can't even pay your mortgage. But it's certainly not something that is not prevalent ever. I mean, Blizzard does it. Again, that's part of it. That's Blizzard Activision. They do that stuff all the time. They give you incentives for playing MOP. They did a big thing where if you bought, which is, I have to admit, is a great incentive, which is if you bought a year's pass to WoW, you got Diablo 3 for free. And that actually worked in many ways in their favor, because not only did you get Diablo free, so the consumer's like, well, fuck, I'm getting it for free, but it also helped bump up their numbers of the sales of Diablo, because they counted all those sales. So it was like, even though the game was free, they sold to, that's a 10 million subscriber base. They sold to 2-3 million people. I think it was 2 million subscribers that they got for the year on. So, I guess there is a good and a bad to it. I don't know.
Yeah, it all depends on how the publisher ends up doing it. Some of them are okay when you're not affected by it. Others, like maybe the Diablo 3 thing or even the Battlefield 3 thing, that's the dark side of the suck-ass portion. Because I can't even throw Borderlands into the really bad thing, because it's not like, you're missing out on missions by not having the Necromancer.
Well, you're missing out on a class, though. I mean,
you're missing out on the class, but it's not like you can't play the game. It's not like you can't go in and
right.
And, they're like, oh, we're going to do custom night on this map. Oh, well, Mike can't play because he doesn't have it.
Right, but you're still missing out on, that's a major component. You're not getting the full game. You can, but you then have to pay more, right? I mean, if you, yes. How much is the Necromancer? That's like a $20 pay-in or something? I
thought it was 800 points, so don't quote me on that, but I thought I saw that. So yeah, I mean, it's $10. You got to pay $10 for a whole nother class. I mean, yes, that does suck, but it's not as bad as missing out on maps or complete missions.
Yeah, I guess.
That's worse than just holding back a class.
So, maybe not so good. Maybe that's a thing that's coming up that, maybe not so good for the gaming industry. 'Cause sometimes I think you're right. Sometimes I think it does work well for the consumer. Sometimes it's a bonus, especially when you say, I'm getting Halo. For the guys that are already getting the game, they're already in, they're sucked in, they're going to buy it. When you say, oh, by the way, you know how you're already going to buy this? Well, we're going to give you free shit. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, I love this incentive. This is great. I get it. This works out really well for me because I was going to buy it anyway. I think it's for the guys that are on the fence that it kind of does hurt. So we'll give
I
that a 50-50. How about that? All right.
I'm good with that.
You're good with 50-50.
I can go with that.
Next on the list, this one, super controversial, and I think almost everyone will agree, day one patches.
Oh my God.
Is anyone going to fight this?
No.
No, it's shitty. It's the worst thing that's happened in the last 15 years. It's probably, out of all the examples given, one of the worst things to happen in video games since video games came out.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had two options. You published a game that worked and people loved it, or you published a game that was buggy and no one bought it, and your company went under and your kids starved and everyone cried for weeks and weeks and weeks. So you had two options. You couldn't just, say, oh, well, we're kind of on a deadline here, but the producer wants me to get it out tomorrow. The guys are on my ass. We've got limited funds left. We have to publish this, immediately. So let's just see what happens in a month from now. These gamers are so excited to play this game. We'll fix it. And, I want to say that's like 50%, probably even closer to like 60 or 70% of most games that are released today. Now, the argument is that, well, these games are ridiculously robust. It was really easy back then to make an 8-bit game. There wasn't a lot to the systems involved. Now we've got networking. We've got all these downloadable contents and ways to, connect to servers and other people and blah, blah, blah. But still, at the end of the day, when you buy a product and you spend the money, I think it's okay to want that game to work the day you get it. I don't think that's a bad thing.
My game should not be 90%.
Right.
Unless you're going to only charge me 90% of the initial retail.
Right.
So
when you impose you want a tax credit. You want like the Obama machine to come in and say, well, you only got 15% of the game. We'll give you a tax credit back. You get credit back. I love this. We're bringing politics into this. It's fantastic. Let's do this. You can't do this?
See, this is kind of my even worst case scenario and how it can kind of affect us. Say you've got people, of course, buying Halo or whatever, but that week for them is going to be crazy ass busy, but they're going to the LAN, right?
Right.
So they're out of town, they're on a campaign, they're whatever the case may be, they just can't get that game in or connect it to the internet before they get to the LAN.
Right.
And then God forbid that a patch needs to come out that's like, oh, by the way, if you wanted to LAN, you're going to need this patch.
You're fucked.
And then, we get to the LAN, we're like, yes, let's do this, let's play. Woo, put it in. Oh,
it's broken.
15% of people.
Well,
get in line.
That's common though, right? Like, how many LANs have we done? 7? I would say at 7 of the 7, there has been some sort of patch or download or compatibility issue. You've got the 1.1.2. I've got the 1.1.4. We can't play together. You're relegated to the back of the room, and it's like, it gets ridiculous. And it all comes down to this fact that games are never ready when they're supposed to be. And I'm not saying that there's a solution to that fact. I mean, there's a lot of money that goes into games. And this is something we'll talk about later, that just the behemoth that is video games that are now competing with music and television and movies, multi-billion-dollar, $300 million spent on Star Wars, $200 million spent on Diablo, all these numbers that people are throwing out. It's pretty fucking insane. I mean, There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of moving parts. And I know it's a shit ton to deal with, but I still, at the end of the day, as a consumer, I'm putting down my money. I don't even want it to work 100%. I would be happy if some of these games worked like 80%, or like, only this half is broken. You come back later, we'll fix that. Don't pay attention to this other half over here. But it's those types of things that they're getting away with it. And we have no choice but to deal with it. That's where we're left. So I gotta give this one 100% worse off. Would you agree? 100% worse off?
This is high.
This is very high. It's up there.
This is up here. This is like $5.
You give
like,
wow.
Yes.
You're breaking the sound barrier.
Yeah, it's like I want to buy a car, but my back passenger window will not roll down.
Right.
We'll give you a software patch.
Oh, you wanted 4 wheels on the car. You can't. Okay, listen. In 2 months, we're gonna get a patch. We're gonna get you 4 wheels. That's guaranteed. But, and here's the other part of patching that we don't talk about. But when we give you that 4th wheel, it's gonna break your steering. Because that's what patches do. You get a patch. You're like, oh, they fixed this, but oh, by the way, this patch fucked this up. So now you can't, there's no multiplayer. But you can log in now. So choose your battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not, I mean, it's shitty. You know, patch. Everything's a beta. We talk about this endlessly. So it's, you know, let's not spend too much time on it, but still, fuck these patches. All right. The third thing that we were talking about, and I don't agree, we were talking about achievements and how they've sort of ruined any sort of development time, because now they got to develop more time to actually build these achievements. I don't agree with that, but it did pose an interesting question that we did talk about, which is, are the levels or difficulties of levels sort of becoming a content of their own? And that's hard to explain, but the example I gave LB was that in Diablo 3, you basically start the game and you have one choice. What is it? Is it normal? You could start on normal, right?
Right.
Yeah. In order to play hard mode or nightmare and then I think Inferno, you had to unlock normal first, which means you've got to go through the entire game, play the content that you want to play, get to the end of the game. Once you complete that content, now you can go into the harder stuff. And 15 years ago, when you had a game, you'd open the box, you'd put the game in, you'd blow on the disc because something was fucked up, on the cartridge rather. You put it in, right? You do the that shit always worked, by the way. And then you put that in, and you had 3 options: easy, normal, hard. 3 options, and it wasn't like, oh, you want to do hard mode? Well, you got to wait a week. You can't play. You can't play the game how you want to play it just yet. You got to wait. You just made your choice. You'd be like, oh, hard mode is really hard. This sucks. I'm going to go to normal. And then you'd play it on normal. And that was it. And so the content was just what was in the game. You'd have a game like Zelda. It was really long. There's tons of content. By the end of the game, you were done. And then you either played the game again or you said, oh, I don't want to play Zelda anymore. But now, and Borderlands 2 is the other one I brought up, you've got the game that you play. Then you play through all that content, and then there's this false sense of more content, which is really like, hey, did you like it on normal? Well, guess what? You get to do it on hard mode now. And you're like, well, why couldn't I have just done it on hard mode right away? Why is this? And I feel like that's their way of getting around actually making more content. We'll just pretend there's more content because you got to do it twice. How do you feel? And I know you're a Borderlands fan, and we know Borderlands basically ends around, what, 20s, 30s? But you got to play it twice to get to 50. Is that accurate, or I don't know? I don't want to spoil it for people, but I already have. So
okay, well, let's put it this way: to get to your final boss,
right?
The final super hard. You got to have everything lined up to get it done. You've got to have your 2.5 playthroughs.
Right.
So you got to play through all at once. You got to play through all again.
Oh my god!
And then you have to do a half playthrough to get
half playthrough. I mean, is this not crazy? Am I?
No, that specific where you're coming from. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. It's like
it's fake content, right?
I'm already done through the first playthrough. I'm on to the second playthrough, and like what you hate, it's the same thing. It's just harder.
Oh.
So it's nothing. Well, so far, I mean, I haven't done it all second playthrough, but so far, it's the same stuff. It's just harder. So, yeah, I kind of get you. It kind of lets the developer off the hook a little bit. They're just like, okay, we'll just give it more hit points.
Right.
You know, maybe tweak the AI a little bit. You know, nerf it here and there or whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of annoying.
It's bullshit. It's like, you know, and these are AAA titles. They spent millions of dollars on doing it. Personally, for me, I would like what I loved in the 15 years ago video games, which is give me a toggle. You know, if you want the game to be a certain length of time, don't like try to put in this false sense of content and having me do it over again. Just make it how long you're going to make it. Give me a toggle. Make it if I want monsters to be harder, I just click a button and the monsters are harder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I'm not saying it's every game. I'm really not, because some games have a lot of content and they don't have this sort of thing. It's something that came out of MMOs. They had these raids, and like if you wanted to do the hard raid, you had to complete the first raid, and then you did the raid again, and the monsters had more hit points. And like that stuff is really starting to permeate into all these other games now. And it just, I don't know, it sucks.
And honestly, because like I'm with my Halo stuff for the past few Halos, I'm the guy that release night specifically for Halo, I played on Legendary night one, finish it night one.
Did you really?
I've done that for Halo 3.
So
I did that
proud
for
of you.
ODST. I did that for Reach. Yeah. So I go Legendary night one, finish it night one. Now, if they were to be like, okay, you could play hard and you have to do it all, and then you unlock Legendary, I'd be like,
So you wouldn't do it.
no, I would not redo the campaign on Legendary or do it all on hard just to get the Legendary to do it again. No. No, sir.
And that's at least that's a good example because I think a lot of the FPS games, excluding, Borderlands, they've kept that sort of you pick and you go and you play, which is totally fine. So that's why for this particularly, I don't give it 100% agree. So we're a little bit worse off than we were 15 years ago, but there's still games that actually truly want to build great content and don't want to try to pretend their games are longer than they are. Because what I hear a lot of people say like, oh, well, Borderlands has like 200 hours of gameplay. Well, yeah, if you want to play the game 3 fucking times.
That's right.
I mean, it's like, come on, don't try to feed me that your game is this epic long thing when it's like 20 minutes long and I just have to do it 6 times. I mean,
I think now we almost need, I wish, people making articles or reporters or whatnot, when they hear that, it's 200 hours of gameplay, go for the clarification. Are you like, is that 200 hours of gameplay of all replay of the same stuff? Or is it unique content for all those hours?
Yeah. No, it's fair. I think that's a fair question to ask, but it's like, these press releases, they're not coming from writers. They're coming from straight from the company. They're like, yeah, that's 600 hours of gameplay. You just have to play the game 600 hours. The game itself is 1 hour long. Sorry. So it's like, I half agree. I'll give this I'll even be nicer. I'll give this a 40% agree that we were better off because I don't think it's as prevalent as he believes it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I do see it happening more, I will say, but I don't think it's a mainstay. At least I freaking hope it's not because that drives me nuts. And it's the main reason I quit Diablo. It's the main reason. Once I did it on normal, I felt like, well, I don't need to do this on hard. I don't care. There's nothing that's bringing me back. I don't care about the shinies. It's not enough. Anyway, next example, and this is an interesting one. Online gaming. Has online gaming ruined gaming? No. And no, and I know you're like, fuck you.
Yeah, this guy's on crack.
Get out my kitchen. It's not going to happen. But I will make one case, and I made this before. When Halo 1 came out, this is not that long ago, mind you. We're not talking 15 years ago. We're talking about, was I in college? I can't even remember anymore. I think it was out of college. But still, when it came out, we would all get together at one house. We'd play 4-player co-op split screen. We'd get dead drunk, drink beer, shoot each other, throw things at the screen, yell at the dude next to me, fist fights would happen. It was fantastic. And because there was no real online play, there was really no way to do it other than that. You had to have people over at your house and you had to get shitty. You had to actually have, human contact, this weird thing that just doesn't happen anymore. It happened back then. I remember even going back further than that when we first started playing Nintendo and I was on Super Nintendo. Secret of Mana was one of the RPGs I loved. Zelda's obviously the big one. Me and my brother would sit in a room for 74 hours, never even showering or eating food, pissing ourselves. And we'd play together. And we'd yell at each other, whose turn was it, this and that. You'd play we had talked about Altered Beast before. You'd play Altered Beast and be fighting over the controller. Those days are gone, right? I mean, it's I don't know that you would ever... When was your last play date, LB? When was your last play date? When did you have a buddy come over... Drinks, and I'll actually say this. I know my last play date. My last play date was with BC Kinetic in Seattle when Halo 3 came out because I actually went out there and we played together at his house before I flew home. That's it. And the only reason is because I happened to be at his house. We had no choice.
Yeah.
Had I been at home and he invited me over, I'd say, look, you're in Seattle. I'm in Chicago. This is just not going to work out. How about we link up together and play over the internet? Same thing. So, I mean, do you do you care, I guess? Do you care that this bond of brosifs has been broken by the online world? Or do you think we're better off?
Nope, we're better.
We're better off. You don't
We're
care
better.
at all.
Because I'm like, look, I know all games don't have LAN capability.
Right.
But if you still want to do it, and you're a Halo player, you still can do it.
Right.
Nobody's, preventing you from unhooking your shit, traveling 30 miles to go sit next to your buddy and drink and pass out and all. You can still do that. Can
Yeah.
you do it with all games? No. But you still get the same thing, except you're not in the same couch, throwing sandals at each other or punching each other.
How are we going to hug it out? How are we going to hug it out? That's what I want to know.
The LAN.
We go to the LAN. You go to the LAN. Which, that's a good point. I guess if you want to do, first of all, you're totally right. If you want to do it, you can do it. There's nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
But I do think you obviously, there's less of an opportunity. When you're forced to do it, you do it, right? I mean, it's like, we can only play with System Link. It's Friday. Get some beers. Let's do this. And that shit, I have to say, some of the best times playing Halo. The reason I got into Halo 2, I would even go so far as to say, is because of the camaraderie built up with playing split screen and going to like events. And, that sort of got me in that. Not only did that build Tool to Play, but it built my love for community, because it was something that, like, growing up, like I said, me and my brother would be in the basement playing Zelda. And then I missed that for, X amount of years until I got into college. And then, out of college, I think it was Bond that came out when I was in college. That was the FPS on Nintendo 64. And then out of college, Halo, and that was all LANs. That's all we did. And it sort of like was this, this is bad. There's other gamers out there. Holy shit. Like, let's play, let's drink. And then the idea, like, let's put beers together with this. Because anything is great when you put beers together with it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're just like, oh, the Halo and beer, there's nothing better.
Well,
And,
I mean, the guy's tugging
little,
at the nostalgia
yeah,
heartstrings. That's what it is. Yes, he's always, when I played football in high school and scored 4 touchdowns in the city championship. I mean, come on. You can still do the same thing. Yes, you can't always go back to the way that things were, but
the way
you still have those connections with the people. You have online, you can talk with them. You build a friendship or whatever, and then you're like, oh wow, hey, I've been playing with you for 2 years. This Tool to Play place is having this LAN. Let's go have some beers. Let's make FaceTime.
Right. I'm with you.
Dynamite.
You know what? You've convinced me. This is bullshit. But without having that LAN, I think there's some serious things that have changed that are probably for the worse. But I agree. The question, what you say is right. If you want to do it, you can go out and do it. And because of that, I think we're fine. Because I'd much rather have if we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't even be having this show right now. If we didn't have that online connection, we would have never met. You would have never came to my house for bro hugs. You still haven't. It's really depressing. Think about it every day. It's not weird.
Oh, that's
going to
change.
It's going to change.
It's going to change.
In like 2-3 weeks. So yeah, online gaming, I think, for the better. Now this homogenization. Now I'm going to blend these two together because I think they're the same thing. Because he talks about homogenization, but also the bland military FPS. I think these are one and the same concept. And that is basically that FPSs have been the same game since Doom. And we really haven't, even before Doom, we haven't really seen... We've seen, some cool shifts and ideas. I think Borderlands at least is doing something where, they're taking another genre and mixing it. That's cool. But the military FPS just won't fucking die. It's the sick part is that I'll probably buy it again because someone needs to help me. Someone needs to stop me. We keep giving them money, and it's like this is the one thing I 100% agree with that we had 15 years ago that we don't have now. And that is diversity. I just don't. When people were making games, they didn't have $1 million budgets and they didn't rely on graphics. They had, again, 2 options. Make a game that people thought was fun or watch your kids starve. That was it. 2 options. You made a good game or you made a shit game. And everyone tried everything and anything to make their game good. And that's just no longer the case. Agree or disagree?
No, I'm kind of with you because
it's sad.
I'm sorry, man. You brought me over. It's a good point. I mean, now the lines are blurred.
Right.
Am I playing COD? Am I playing Halo? Am I playing Battlefield 3? What am I playing? I don't know. It's all pretty much the same thing. One game will specifically move controller layouts from another game just because people
Right.
love it so much. And then they'll be like, oh, hey, I get the same controller layout in COD that I did in Halo, or vice versa, or whatever it is. So, yeah, it's everything's blended together now, and there's very little difference. You'll have minor changes, but it's getting ridiculously bad. And in one case, I'll point out specifically for Halo 4 is they have a new game type, right? And if everyone's familiar with domination in COD,
No. No. I think I know where you're going with this.
so now they've got this new game type, right? And you have territories, and you need to capture 2 of 3 territories. And their little tweak is, oh, you're going to have shield walls and turrets, so it's kind of tower defense. Well, no, it's not. That's just your PR. But you can't even go beyond such a different name. You have to pick something that sounds just like domination.
Right.
And that is duty. What did they pick?
What is it? Dominion? I don't even know.
Oh my
You can't remember. See, this is the thing. It's so close. Dominion, domination, dominatrix. You know what I mean? It's like some freaking. They're like, oh well, we'll name it this so that everyone will know what we're talking about, but we won't say what we're talking about.
Yes,
They'll like
and
it's
I'm
in
like-
it. They're inferring it. They're like, you guys know, right? Yeah.
And
we know.
even before I read the article about what the game type actually was, I just saw the title. And the first thing when I saw the title, I
You
was
knew.
like, huh, I wonder if that's like domination in COD. That is the first thought that came to my mind.
Wow.
And
And
then I'm
it's
like-
and I think they've done their job. I think that's what they're trying to do. Like, because they know they're putting it in your head. They're like, you guys know. We don't want to say it, but you know. But so yeah, I mean, and I think that's just part of how gaming has become. It's like everything is like the other thing that you did, but we don't want to go too far out of that thing because then you're going to be like, you changed my thing. Why did you change my thing? And they want that thing back. And it's like, the truth of the matter is human beings don't like it when things change. We know this, right?
Oh,
But they think that they want them to change. They do. They're like, no, dude, we don't want the same Halo. I refuse to buy the same freaking Halo over and over again. Oh, there's a new Halo coming out? Yeah, I'm going to buy that. Because they don't care. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you give them enough of what they were used to, then you're okay. And there's that sweet spot of like, don't change it so much that like people freak out and they're like, you've ruined my game and my life is over. Can't do that. You've got to hit this really weird sweet spot where they give you, like a shield or a jetpack, but you're still playing Halo. Or it's Dominatrix or Dama whatever, but it's really domination from Call of Duty. That's homogenization, is when you take as many things as possible that are good and you blend them together until you keep blending until essentially you're left with the same. I foresee a future where Call of Duty will eventually go, into space, Call of Duty Space Edition, and it will basically be Halo. It'll be like Master Chief, not Master Chef or Master Chief, Master Chief. And then, Halo will blend and blend and blend. And I mean, we're already seeing the loadouts and shit. It's, and it'll just be the same game. And they'll form to this one mega unit of game that will take over everyone's minds. There'll be nothing
They'll
left.
have some crazy crossover too.
All right. It'll be
They'll
fantastic.
be like, well, if you play Halo 12,
yeah.
you can save
If
your
you've
loadouts
played,
in Halo 12.
And you can load up in
and
Call
port
of
them
Duty
over to
15.
COD 27.
It's terrible.
What?
It's weird that I foresee that happening. So yes, homogenization is definitely been killing gaming. And Bubba was saying in chat that I had rose-colored glasses with what was good and what was bad. The point I'm trying to make is not that there was a ton of good games back then. Most of those games did suck, but at least they were the gems that made it out of the rubble that was the shit 15 years ago. And there's a ton of shit, way more shit then than there is now, I would almost say. But when a game sold, it was always this new IP that did really, really well and totally broke out. And since those 15 years, we've been iterating on those gems over and over and over and over again. So anytime a game became popular, it's really what we're playing now, 15 years later. It's just been iterated to death, you know. We see some breakouts, to be fair, but I feel as though it's more rare. No?
And I think it's one could almost say that's as far as entertainment on a whole is.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, look at movies.
Part 7.
Part 7. Oh, we're gonna rehash one that was made 50 years ago. Not even call it Part 2. It's the same movie.
What was it, like Spider-Man? Wasn't that the earliest rehash they've done so far? I think it was like 5 years or something, someone said. They did the Spider-Man reboot. And it was like, we're rebooting this. It was last week that you watched it.
I know.
And everyone was like, well, do we need this right now? They're like, yes, you need it. You need to go see
We're like
it.
Total Recall.
Total Recall. There you go.
Oh my God.
Doesn't need a reboot. Doesn't need a freaking... Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. So yeah, I agree. Homogenization is bad. And I think it's inherent, as you were saying, I think it's inherent in anything that has reached mass appeal. I don't think it's because of gaming or any of that bullshit. Anything that reaches a mass appeal, that the homogenization comes in because you need your game to appeal to as many people as possible. When you're in the gaming industry 15 years ago and you knew your gaming group of people you were selling, there's like 15 nerds in a basement. You didn't really care because they were going to buy it. That's what they did. That was their hobby. But now it's moms and pops and uncles and grandmothers when the grandmothers are playing Halo, it gets a little weird. But you've got to try to appeal to all those people. And it just turns into this one giant thing, and it sucks. So I agree, 100%. 100% not a fan. Next on the list, soaring budgets. This one's interesting. And it's basically, now that everyone's got all this money, now that everyone's making billions and trillions of dollars to drive around Ferraris and whatever, it's cut out the ability for these niche games, the games that the new IPs and the things like that, to break out because the money controls everything. They've got multi-billion-dollar budgets that they're using on these games. The marketing budgets. I think the marketing budget for Halo was like, I remember when it came out, it was like this crazy number that people were just like, holy shit. It was like more money than most movies would spend on a marketing budget. And I believe it. I mean, it was everywhere. Halo 3 was one of those games when it came out, it was like, you could not walk down the street without hearing about Halo 3, which is crazy. I mean, you think 15 years ago, I think there's that one Zelda commercial of that guy like in a dark room. I don't know if you remember it. He's like in a black room and he's yelling Zelda. It was like Zelda for like 10 minutes. And then it was it. People were like, what the fuck what did I just watch? It wasn't this big spectacular thing. And like, it's on the internet and it's at the halftime show now. And it's craziness. And so it stifles any sort of level of invention because why compete? Can't do it. What do you think?
I'm almost, I'm kind of thinking, how crazy would it be if you actually had a commercial where you had like Obama against like Romney playing a like death match online?
Sounds great.
Like for Halo 4, like a Halo 4 advertisement. You get them both with headsets on, and they're like yelling obscenities to each other, and it's almost to that amount of money where they're just like, we've got all this. Promote it, throw it out there, have everyone and their mother know what's coming. My grandma knows Halo 4 is coming out. She's 95. No, it's too much money, and like they're putting so much money into that. There's so much pressure that it just trickles down to your developer, where they're like, well, we need another month really to polish it up. Too fucking bad. We just spent $150 million on Romney fighting Obama.
Yeah, we've got an ad campaign's going out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Get your ass on the ball. Obama's ready.
Just throw out a patch day one. You'll be fine.
Right, there you go. There you go. It's tough. That's a tough one to. And again, I have to agree. I mean, it's one of the darker sides of what gaming's become. When you guys got a ton of money, I think this is normal. But the good news is, the silver lining in this is I think even as of the last 2 years, the casual game market, and this is where we're going to go next and probably end here since we're almost out of time, which LB hates, by the way. They've been able to, these small companies, and they're growing in what they can do. DayZ is one of the ones that comes to mind right now. It's on Steam. It's a really popular PC game. You should go check it out. But it basically was a guy that created a mod. The mod became really successful. I think he had like 1.4 million downloads or something like that. That's a new sort of thing coming out of gamers, built for gamers by gamers. It's a rarity, but when it picks up, a little bit of steam and it gets out there, because the internet is is the best tool of actually, getting news out to other gamers, it can do well. A game can sort of be sparked out of an idea. A small group of people can still build them and make them successful. It's a rarity, but I think Minecraft, everyone's going to agree, no one can. And this guy made, I don't remember, he's worth $1 bajillion now. Minecraft creator. He's worth $1 bajillion. Wow. I'm making the number up, but I'm saying it right now. He's worth $1 bajillion. And that was built on Java, which no one codes on ever for gaming. He just built it in his free time. It became ridiculously popular. It's on Xbox now. And that's a one-man team, which is now, I think he's got a couple hundred people working. He no longer works on the project. But it's the best example that we have of someone saying, I'm going to do something different. I don't need crazy graphics. I don't need this such and such engine. I'm going to do it. You're going to be able to play it in a browser if you want to. And it became a huge success. So, I can't totally agree with this. Yes, the money is tough, but it's just as tough as a guy making an independent film that does well. And there are those breakout films that become popular and they become huge. And it's the same thing, I think, in games. You still see those gems out there.
Yeah, we had an interview, a few months ago with the guys from Natural Selection.
Right.
Now it's Natural Selection 2. They've got their own thing. They've created their own fucking engine out of a previous mod for fucking stuff before to a totally different game. So, there is that, and there's that hope that independent guys can do it. It's
tough.
It's Goliath and David.
Right.
And David's gonna get the job done sometimes, but Goliath is gonna shit on people most of the time.
And the follow up to that is the good news is that because gaming is so broad and so vast, and there's so many people doing it now, that as a small developer, you can make a living off your tiny little game if you get a community of a couple 100,000 people or even less. If you make a successful game and you're a tiny company and the only thing you have to worry about is paying your 10 guys or 15 guys, and you've got a community that loves your game and you can bring it out on Steam and publish it on the PC or publish it on the Xbox, which you can do now, you can make a living and you can do really well. You don't need, and I think that's the problem, is there isn't always a need for a AAA title. There isn't always a need for a game that cost, $20 million, $200 million to make. There's plenty of games that come out that you see, and sometimes you see games like Natural Selection 2 is a great example, just because you look at those graphics and the engine that those guys built, you're like, well, shit, this is better than some of the AAA engines I've seen. This is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just that it's really hard to do it. So I call bullshit on this too. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get out there and make a freaking game. Right, LB? We can do that.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, finally, and this is the one that LB loves the most, is casual gaming. He's a huge fan of casual gaming, if you didn't know. He plays Angry Birds every day. He's trying to beat my high score. That's all he does. But I don't know why there's this huge assault on casual gaming, but he basically says that because casual gamers aren't truly gamers, and this is what LB agrees with, that they're ruining gaming because they're detracting from gaming as a whole. A lot of the money shifting into casual gaming, a lot of the money is going elsewhere. It's coming out of our beloved hardcore games and it's going into a different market. And therefore it is crushing the souls of gamers everywhere. LB, do you agree with this? Probably not, right? You don't agree?
No, listen. Casual gaming is bullshit.
Oh, damn.
All right? I understand if you're going to put it on your phone or you're going to play it to pass some time when you're at the crapper at work, whatever, fine. But that doesn't qualify you as a gamer because you're playing freaking Sudoku on your freaking iPhone 4GS. You are not a gamer.
Ouch.
You found some entertainment, all right? It's like calling everything out there, if you move or something, it's a sport. No, it's a competition, and then there are also sports. It's not the same. So casual gaming is entertainment. It's not necessarily gaming.
Damn. So now do you think it hurts gaming? I mean, would you go so far? Wow. Now, why is that? Why does it hurt gaming?
From what you said, like, you got Angry Birds, you got Zynga, you got all this stuff, and everyone's like, oh my God, they have so many downloads. Look at this. Let's give all this money for, like, venture capitalists are like, here's $9 bajillion. Go make us Angry Birds in space. It'll be great.
Did you hear now that Angry Birds has Star Wars now?
Yeah.
You're excited about that, huh?
No.
No. You can't wait.
So all that, they pull programmers, they pull money, they pull resources away from maybe you have some independent guy there with the next great IP that's not a crappy friggin' Words with Friends. I'm a gamer. I play Words with Friends.
LB, that sounds fantastic. When can we play Words with Friends together?
Fuck that. No.
Wow.
It irritates me. Look, send me all the PMs if you want.
Casual gamers are going to be on your ass. Casual gamers,
like, you're just a hater because I don't sit on a console in front of a monitor to play. You're not gaming.
Wow.
You're passing time on the shitter on your phone, on your tablet. No. Don't come up to me and be like, hey, man, I hear you're a gamer. I am too. Want to see my Angry Bird score? Fuck you.
Well, you're lucky in the sense that casual gamers don't watch this show, so they won't know that you're mad at them. But also, gamers don't watch this show, and also people don't watch this show. So you're totally fine. No one will ever see or hear this rant. I half agree with you. I think the best. Well, the rule I gotta say half because there's a place for casual gamers because a lot of times these casual games will spurt or bring people into gaming. It's a way to kind of start them in the world of games. They might not necessarily play as hardcore as us ever, but they might start with a game like Angry Birds and be like, oh, I'm a gamer. I like to play games. And then they get off the shitter and they actually get into the couch and they play a real game and they're actually cool people. But I don't know. It's like a part of me feels like it's a gateway drug, like you get into gaming and then you learn to actually, come out of that. A lot of people actually, believe it or not, got into MMOs because of Farmville, because Farmville was like this thing where they'd play Farmville on, Facebook or whatever. And then they'd be like, oh, I can fight dragons too. What? Dragons. And it was like, it sort of permeated out from there. So I don't know.
Let me ask you this. So hold on.
I'm trying to fight the good fight for casual gaming. It's not working out.
Let me put this. Go ahead. You're a big MMO guy. You were the MMO guy. Right?
Yeah.
So your brother, all of a sudden, he's been playing Farmville.
Right.
Right? He rolls up to you and like, Jay, I love the Farmville. I can't get enough. I'm picking up Warcraft, and I want you to show me what to do.
Oh, God.
Are you like, yes, it'll translate perfectly.
Yeah, no, there's no.
We're good to go.
No, and I see what you go, and that, I think, to where I really agree with you is that casual games are meant to be easy, completed quickly. You take a dump by the time you're off the shitter, you've reached 6 levels. You know what I mean? You've done a lot of work in that short period of time. Yes. That also permeates the idea that all games should be easy. And I think that what we've really lost in these last 15 years, and I'll end it on this, is I'll tie it into casual gaming, but games are no longer hard. And everyone now gets a ribbon. It used to be when a game was freaking hard, like 15 years ago, if you couldn't get past a level, too fucking bad. Turn it off. That's it. You had one choice. It's like, you got a cheat code, right? And then you felt like shit all week long because you cheated because you're a pussy and you couldn't do it yourself. Or you just didn't play. It was like, holy shit, this is hard. I can't do this level. Oh, you can't? Too bad. Go home. Can't play. Too bad. And I would say that casual gaming, in a way, has sort of, as time is going on, games have been getting easier and easier. Like, I mean, I would spend hours on a level back in the day, and it'd be like, I can't fucking do it. If anyone's ever played Battletoads for Nintendo, talk to me, brother, because you almost killed someone while playing that game. I know someone out there has played that game and they know it made them want to hurt babies. You jump, you had like a jump you had to do and like, oh shit, I must have jumped in timer. And it wasn't like, oh, don't worry. After the 3rd try, you just complete the level. You tried hard enough and now you're yay. No, it was like, too bad. Go back to the beginning and do it again. And you don't get to leave until you do it right. Yeah, Mario is the best example. Yeah. If you don't do it right, too bad. Oh. Your option is skip. You can skip because you suck and you're not good at games. You can do that. But other than that, no. So, I mean, that's my thing. I think games, and I want to know if you agree. I think games are stupid easy now. Now, I mean, I know you've got your Inferno modes and your Diablos, and you've got the option to hate your life if you want to.
Yes.
But if you want to get, and I think this is why people lose interest in games, because they're not hard and you can consume them really fast now. And so because of that, there's no challenge. And when there's no challenge, there's no carrot on a stick. And when there's no carrot on a stick, there's no reason to keep playing. No? Maybe?
No, I think it's still hard out there because I mean you still got some of the COD games where if you're playing, what was the hardest level on COD?
I forget. I know what you're talking about that. Where it's like hate your life mode.
Well, you're playing the hardest mode, right? And like say there are 10 levels or whatever. You get through the first 7, you're like, okay, yeah, it's pretty hard. But then you get to level 8, hardcore. Thank you. And then G40 said in chat.
Oh yeah. Hardcore.
Then you get to level 8. And you were like, holy fuck balls, what is going on? You're like, they were just like teasing you into that point. And then you got in here and they're throwing 100,000 grenades over a mile span.
Right.
And you're like, there's nothing I can do. You just spent 6 hours trying every different iteration, weapon, step, timing, shoot, run, shoot, everything you can do, and you still don't do it, and then you nerd rage, and then you're out. You're like, no more. I'm out. I think there is still that difficulty out there that you can find. Now, do you have that in casual games? No.
Right.
You don't. You really don't. All right, so if Angry Birds is tough and you can't get that one special angle and that one little bounce, or they do that stupid thing where it's like you need some random bounce out of your ass.
Right.
That skill has nothing to come into it. It just happens to work and you pass, then that's crap.
Right.
But if you can actually, if you just have to get better and by figuring out the pattern or whatever, you can complete it, then yes, then that's rewarding. Otherwise, it's just bullshit.
Wow. I love it.
Giving you the reach around.
Well, so to wrap it up, if we were going to take I guess the question is, what do you think overall? Last 15 years, gaming is obviously not going to stop. It's like a train now. It's mowing people over. I mean, I think a lot of the people thought after the recession we've kind of had a dip a little bit in people buying games. It has gone down a tad. Do you think that has anything to do with the stuff we talked about today, or do you think it's really just maybe people are sick of it? I mean, maybe it kind of has been this beaten over your head thing especially over the last like 5 years, and the homogenization and all these other things we talked about. Is that maybe at the detriment of it? I mean, or are we going to end up just like movies are, and we're still going to have $200 million weekends in movies and stuff like that, regardless if it's Spider-Man or whatever? I mean, where do you think we're at with it? Are we in a good spot, or are we going to see some revolting, if you will, some consumer feedback that can't be denied?
I agree. I think we do need a little bit of a revolution. I do think something needs to be done where you have that independent guy, or even, it doesn't even have to be independent. You can even actually have a Activision or an EA come out and make the next great genre.
Right.
Whatever it is. Just have the balls to do it.
Yeah.
Don't be like, well, we're going to waste $4 million. It's not going to work. I'd rather put that in $4 million into Battlefield 9.
Right.
That's the call. We need that because, if you do have the same thing and it's just the same thing year after year after year, you're gonna kill the industry. You still need a little bit of lifeblood coming in,
right,
for people to try. It got to the point where I tried MMO.
Yeah, that says a lot.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun with it. There was parts that I fucking hate about it.
Right.
I don't understand it. But I tried something completely new. And is that good and bad? Yeah, there is some of that. But you got to get fresh blood in there. And hopefully, I don't know. I've got this pipe dream of maybe Bungie's next game, whatever it is, and their team, it's going to be something different where it's going to be like, wow, I need to play 2 weeks in a row. I'm not going to sleep. I've got to play. So we'll see.
I'm with you. I got to say, overall, I think I think we are on a little bit of shaky ground. I think the next 5 years are going to be pretty important for the industry. We get these blockbuster titles, they come out, we enjoy them. Borderlands 2 is a great game. I think it delivered exactly how it should, but it's still, revolutionary. I don't know. They're doing a lot of cool things, and I like seeing them take those chances. I think what Borderlands 2 is specifically as a game like that shows you is that when you do something really different, like Borderlands 1, you're rewarded by people really getting behind your game.
Yeah.
I think that's what they have to do. Like you said, you got to have the balls. The problem is back in the day, you didn't lose. 15 years ago, you didn't lose that much money. Now, when you spend, 20 million, 30 million, 100 million on an idea that you hope will do well, it's hard to get out of that. It's hard for a movie to come out that no one's heard of and then spend 300 million on it. It just is. It's just one of those things. They don't greenlight those types of things anymore.
I'm gonna push back on you on that.
Please do it,
because you've got YouTube. You get some guy who makes a 10-minute little short with his fucking GoPro, right? And all of a sudden it gets 2 million freaking views.
Yeah, but
the ability, it's out there. You can do it,
right? But that's not the AAA title to push the industry, I guess.
Well, that's right. You need lightning to strike.
Right.
Or you need to be able to capture it in a bottle. Whatever the fuck the damn little saying is.
Right.
It's got to happen, and hopefully it happens with the next generation of consoles. That's kind of where I'm like, please, let there be the Halo of the next console. It doesn't have to be Halo. It could be Flying Bulldogs. I don't know what it is.
I can't wait to play
just that game. Please let it be there.
All right, I'm with you. Well, that's going to wrap it up. So hopefully we've got another 15 years to go. Hopefully things turn around. Who knows? But we always know that no matter what, we can bro hug at the LAN every year. That's the key. That's what this is all about, people. Bro hugging it out. With me, as always, my man, the one whom I can't wait to bro hug with, LB. If they want to find you on the Twitters, how are they going to do that? I don't know how. Is there a way?
Yes, I'm on Twitter at LBSUTKA. I'm sorry, LBSUTKE.
That's even better.
That's right. That's how you'll find me.
Yeah.
And bring your stupid casual hate mail if you want, because I will just eat your babies.
Eat your babies. Exactly. You can find me at Twitter at DOODIROCK. And you can find me on Tool to Play. You can find me everywhere. Facebook. I'm all over the place. It's ridiculous. Sorry about the scheduling conflict next week. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday. Thanks, everyone, for coming in to chat. We'll play some casual games, some Angry Birds, some Words with Friends. You guys want to have maybe a Words with Friends playdate? Let's do that.
Just do that in the LAN.
Just do that in the LAN. Playdate. We don't
Words
even.
and Friends.
We don't need
to get out your cell phones.
It'd be fantastic. And as the quick reminder, woundedwarriorsproject.org. Go there. And as always, thanks for everyone coming and having some fun. And we'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Thanks, everybody. Later.
Casual games.